Right now, on the National Weather Desk, California faces a 1-2 weather punch. With king tides and flooding along the coast,
we've been at this location for 35 years and we've never seen it this bad.
And heavy snow that closed highways in the mountains.
Chaos, man. It's crazy. Yeah, pretty hefty, man.
And speaking of heavy snow, several New York State towns are buried under more than 5 feet.
It's too hard to shovel the snow when it gets to be this much.
Today marks 6 months since those deadly floods in Texas.
This is always going to be our moment where we'll always be a memorial for those dear souls that have lost.
And we'll show you the dramatic rescue of a dog from an icy pond.
These guys are there all the time on the spot, no matter what, and we really appreciate it.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Right now, on the National Weather Desk, California faces a 1-2 weather punch. With king tides and flooding along the coast,
we've been at this location for 35 years and we've never seen it this bad.
And heavy snow that closed highways in the mountains.
Chaos, man. It's crazy. Yeah, pretty hefty, man.
And speaking of heavy snow, several New York State towns are buried under more than 5 feet.
It's too hard to shovel the snow when it gets to be this much.
Today marks 6 months since those deadly floods in Texas.
This is always going to be our moment where we'll always be a memorial for those dear souls that have lost.
And we'll show you the dramatic rescue of a dog from an icy pond.
These guys are there all the time on the spot, no matter what, and we really appreciate it.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. It was another rough weekend of weather in California. Heavy rain and unusually high tides were flooding many communities, while heavy snow battered the Sierra Nevada mountains. Interstate 80 and other roads were still closed overnight due to multiple spinouts and dangerous conditions, especially in the Lake Tahoe region. While along the coast, king tides flooded communities from the San Francisco Bay Area to Southern California. It was so bad the Santa Barbara airport closed on Saturday, didn't reopen until yesterday. We have 2 reports this morning, starting with John Lawrence.
Most of our stuff is just getting taken out by the current.
So far, it's been a soggy new year for many in the Golden State, where some streets have transformed into makeshift rivers.
This area is flooded frequently, but I've never seen it this bad. And I think it looks like people were pretty unprepared.
Severe storms struck across California over the past few days. Certain counties saw more than 4 inches of rain over a 48-hour period.
As I tried to pass through this bigger part of the flood, I'm in a Mini Cooper and it just was a little too low, so here I sit.
On Sunday afternoon, half the streets in the Bay Area's Larkspur Marina neighborhood were underwater after the overflowing of the Corte Madera Creek.
We're trying to keep as dry as possible. You know, every sump pump, every sandbag.
King tides are the highest predicted tides of the year for a coastal location, and officials say these are the largest ones the region has seen since 1998.
They happen this time of year, but when in combination with storms like we've seen the last few days, it can really wreak havoc. You see a lot of flooding in a lot of low-lying areas, plus you'll see higher levels in our creek.
From dramatic downpours to steady snowfall, driving anywhere in NorCal Sunday was,
I would say, chaos, man. It's crazy. Yeah, pretty hectic, man.
especially for Eduardo Obando, taking a day trip with family from Antioch so his kids can see the snow before they got to see the classroom.
Glad we're here, you know.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, you know. The kids have some time fun, because they're going back to school too Monday. With all the snow and trying to climb over here and get the chain set up, it took us like 6 hours, man.
The Obandos taking it slow, all to prevent a situation like this. At least 10 cars stopped and stuck on Highway 267 in Placer County, the CHP said, due to multiple spinouts.
I've seen a couple cars, on the side of the road, because it's pretty slippery, it's pretty icy.
It was a common sight as the day went on, but the Moreno family from Sacramento started their journey early.
It was barely starting to snow when we got here, so we lucked out and enjoying the weather today. Pretty smooth sailing. It was easy to get here.
Yeah, flooding, and now we got all this, Oh, and coming all the way up here, the rain is pretty hard too.
Rain or snow, smooth sailing or choppy waters, the message for NorCal drivers is clear.
Drive slow and be safe, It's worth just to make it home.
And across much of the country, this is shaping up to be a fairly mild week of weather. High pressure will push across the nation's midsection starting tomorrow, and by the end of the week, more than 2/3 of the population could see temperatures 20 degrees or more above average. Chicago could see a few days in the 50s. Washington, D.C. could hit 60. The Climate Prediction Center says the unusually warm weather is expected to continue for the next 2 weeks. Only then will below average temperatures return to northern states. Well, cleanup is underway in portions of central New York after rounds of winter weather dumped near record snow. Hannah Devaney spoke with residents north of Syracuse who say getting rid of all the snow could take days.
It was crazy.
That's how Oswego County residents described the snowstorm that covered roads in feet of snow. But it's not just the roads that had to be taken care of. It's also driveways.
It's too hard to shovel the snow when it gets to be this much. I've been lucky. I have someone who lives next door to me that I know very well, and they come over. She sends her son-in-law over, and he cleans the garage and the driveway.
While some are lucky enough to have their driveways taken care of by their neighbors, others that do their own say that sometimes it's a multiple-day process.
I spent probably a good couple hours yesterday morning, and then probably at least another hour this morning just trying to get everything cleared out, at least enough to get the vehicles in and out.
It's a multiple-day process, and it isn't easy, especially not with this much to deal with.
I snow blow what I can, but not everything can be snow blowed completely. So a lot of it I'm still having to shovel myself, especially like at the end of the driveway when the plows come through and you get all that snow that's packed together.
So much snow, some mailboxes are buried by it.
It definitely makes it challenging sometimes when you're trying to shovel all the snow away, but it just keeps coming.
A close call for a dog that found itself on thin ice last week, literally. First responders braved icy conditions to save the golden retriever. Devin Bates reports from Rhode Island.
5-year-old Phoenix found himself in a terrifying situation Thursday morning when he decided to take a stroll on Little Mascog Pond, only for the thin ice to give way, plunging him paws first into the pond.
Squawka Fire Department, Western Ambulance responding across from 25 Atlantic Ave, the Little Mascog Pond, a dog through the water.
Volunteers with the Mesquamacut Fire Department were there within minutes, but getting out to Phoenix was no easy swim. Treading water and trying to keep his head up, the pup was all too happy to reach out for that helping hand and get back to shore. Other nearby dog owners like Martha Sylvia take comfort in knowing those volunteer firefighters have their back.
These guys are there all the time on the spot, no matter what, and we really appreciate it.
Martha says she has a particularly strong appreciation for the rescue because she knows it could have just as easily been her beloved dog Fenway out there.
As a dog owner living in the area, I would happen to be out of town, and when I saw the dog, I actually thought it was mine.
The fire department says Phoenix appeared to be doing well after he was brought back to the safety of the shore. They remind everyone no ice is ever safe.
And more than 100 people lost their lives in Texas Hill Country 6 months ago in what's become known as the July 4th floods. Phil Sterling spoke to residents who are looking back at exactly what happened and where things stand today.
The historic July 4th flooding claiming the lives of more than 100 people along the Guadalupe. A portion of the river runs through Kerrville. On this day, 6 months later, we found Sally West walking its banks. She's lived in Texas Hill Country for years.
It continues a relationship that was started in childhood.
West is helping to keep the area clean while also coming across plenty of items that could hold special meaning following the tragedy.
This handle was probably a door handle on an RV or something of that nature. That there's a real sacredness and holiness about it that's very hollowed.
She also says it's one of the ways she's learning to process everything that happened in the Hill Country.
It means I haven't given up on the Guadalupe River. And I don't see it as a place of horror and death, but a place of resilience, a place of healing.
And West is not alone. Many others also regularly visiting the Guadalupe.
This is always going to be our moment where we'll always be a memorial for those dear souls that have lost.
It's going to be a long recovery. Grief takes as long as it takes.
Months after the tragedy, though, there's frustration for some living there with just how long it's taking to get sirens and warning systems put in place to prevent another disaster.
Sometimes optics is different than reality, you know.
Other flood warning systems up by May, partially paid for by state grants.
We just appreciate, being alive, and so many people lost their loved ones,
And for all the latest weather news and video, be sure to follow the National Weather Desk on social media. We also post content from our team of meteorologists across the country. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, bear sightings are increasing throughout Tennessee. We'll look at how officials are dealing with the growing problem. And we'll look at the unique way some people are making good use of their dying Christmas trees.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. Mostly quiet weather as we head through the next couple of days. High pressure pushing out. We may see some periods of cloud cover here and there, but for the rest of the time, it looks like we'll be mostly dry until a system arrives later into the week. Temperatures are going to start recovering a little bit. We'll be in the 40s for highs as we move through your Monday afternoon, maybe some 30s off to the north, in the upper 40s to the south, but we'll see those temperatures rising. The warmer temperatures will start surging in 50s as we head closer to Tuesday.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. As we head into Monday afternoon, expect mild conditions across the southeast with the 60s across the Carolinas and into the northern Gulf Coast to the Mississippi River Valley, into the mid and upper 70s across most of central and south Florida, even near the 80-degree mark in West Palm Beach and Miami. Fairly quiet weather pattern here over the next couple of days as high pressure made to control. Few passing clouds with morning fog possible across the southeast heading through Tuesday.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A look at the first full moon of 2026, which reached its peak illumination during the weekend. If you look closely, there's the shadow of an airplane. The snapshot taken from Goat Island in Rhode Island. Also in the Providence area, this brilliant fiery sunset, but it was anything but warm. Temperatures last night dropped into the teens.
For more content like this, subscribe to the National Weather Desk's YouTube channel.
Wildfires in Texas last week put residents on edge. The fire danger is increasing as the Lone Star State continues to face abnormally dry conditions. Alex Webb has that story from just outside Abilene.
Weather patterns are changing right now as we're, of course, in winter. We're getting a lot of cold fronts in, and so wind gusts are increasing. Thursday, of course, these fires happened.
The fire in Ty is just one example of many grass fires crews have battled across Texas over the past few months. Weeks without meaningful rain have left grass and brush extremely dry, creating prime conditions for flames to ignite and spread fast.
For December, we had no rainfall across the big country for many areas. Only some places saw a trace, which is unnormal for us. We usually see at least an inch in some places, and a lot of us are in drought as well. So a lot of these conditions combined, low humidity, gusty winds, warm temperatures, not enough moisture, that leads to fires pretty quickly.
It only takes a few seconds for even a small spark to quickly turn into a fast-moving fire.
What happens when these gusts come in and temperatures are warm, we have lots of fuels across the area, very dry fuels. So if anything does cause a spark or flame, these gusts are able to pick up the flame and spread these fires very quickly, unfortunately.
Residents are urged to avoid open flames and use extra caution with equipment until conditions improve.
Do the best you possibly can to avoid anything that can cause a spark or flame outdoors, including if it's getting cold at night and you want to have a bonfire or something. Make sure you have a way to extinguish it. And if you even are grilling or anything, that can cause a fire very quickly. So just make sure you're being aware and have ways to mitigate it if it's in your control, either a fire extinguisher or water on hand.
And a growing coyote population has some Seattle residents concerned, but there's some disagreement on how to handle the increase. Claire Weaver has more.
I see a coyote. At the beginning, I thought it was a dog, but I told my wife actually dog should be on leash. That's not a dog.
But neighbors tell us these sightings are on the rise.
It's the conversation among all the dog walkers. Everyone stops each other. Did you see the coyote? Watch out for the coyote.
Seattle police initially responded for reports of a potential attack, but later confirmed there were no injuries. Still, parkgoers say the coyote ran right near them, showing no signs of fear.
I think it's a little unusual for the coyotes to be quite so unafraid of people around as this one was.
They walk through a crowd of people with dogs. Just walk right through. Like, it ain't no thing.
Although John Caldwell, a longtime neighbor of the park, has never seen a coyote try to attack, he says the growing sightings have sparked debate across Capitol Hill.
There's people who want the state to deal with it. There's people who call every city agency or state agency, and other people say, oh, it's, they were here first.
According to the State Department of Fish and Wildlife, removing a coyote is typically not a long-term solution. Experts instead say to never leave children or pets unattended and to safely scare the animal with loud noises. If a threat remains, authorities may have to kill the coyote, a method not welcomed by all.
I think they're part of the urban environment now, and we have to adapt to them as much as anything.
In other parts of the country, it's not coyotes, but bear populations that are growing, and that leads to more interactions with humans. Sarah Hauer reports from Tennessee.
That quiet, the wind, the creeks, the woods is familiar across Tennessee. But lately,
don't think that you can outrun a bear.
That quiet is being broken by black bears like these. Fox Chattanooga's outdoors contributor Richard Sims says the reason is simple.
There's just getting to be lots more bears than there used to be. There's been intensive management practices to, try to benefit the bears, and it's been extremely successful.
TWRA officials estimate there are now nearly 6,000 black bears across Tennessee, a roughly 20% increase from estimates 5 years ago.
Bears are recolonizing their historical range. With technology, they're more visible than ever.
And as that population grows, encounters with people are rising with it.
There was a time when the only bears in Tennessee were in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
In Collegedale, a viewer on Edgemond Road captured this. A black bear raiding a bird feeder in the middle of the night, caught on Ring camera. Sims says there's often one reason bears move closer to people.
Keeping garbage where bears can't get to it. I mean, it's just, it's like bait, it's like free food for them.
Last year, TWRA received 1,700 bear-related emergency calls. About 1/4 involved garbage. Wildlife experts say the message is simple.
25% of our calls are directly related to garbage. That's where the bear gets comfortable. That's where the bear starts to feel good around people. And then these other things start to happen.
The TWRA says if you do encounter a bear, make noise and throw sticks or rocks nearby, but only after the bear has a clear escape route.
And it's that time of year, time to get rid of that dead or dying Christmas tree in your living room. As meteorologist Sarah Converse found out, folks in Ohio have a unique way to dispose of those trees.
At Harrison Farm in Groveport, Christmas trees are becoming tasty treats. If you still have your live Christmas tree, you can drop it off at Catherine's Farm.
The goats, they long for the Christmas trees all year. It brings them a lot of joy, and they really get a kick out of just tearing into them.
Not only do the trees bring joy to the goats, but they also keep the trees out of the landfills.
The trees are not only something green that the animals enjoy eating, but the trees give them a lot of enrichment as they are nibbling on the delicious green that they find. Also, it's a big help sustainability-wise. That is one of our core values, that we are making sure that we are a sustainable operation. And so by bringing the trees here, it helps to keep them out of landfills.
This sustainable operation brings many communities together and can lead to wonderful relationships.
We not only have individuals that will bring out their Christmas trees and say hello to the animals while they're visiting here, but we also have an amazing relationship with Strader's Garden Center. They will bring to us trees that did not sell. So it has become a wonderful, mutually beneficial relationship.
There is no deadline for the Christmas tree drop-off. So whenever you're ready to say goodbye to your tree, a goat will be waiting to munch on it.
Time now for a short break, but first we take in some views of Nevada's Truckee River.
Well, a very good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Pretty quiet weather for most of the Midwest today. We are dodging some heavier snow that's just up to the far northern portions of the Great Lakes for the day today. Got a couple of rain showers, spotty light stuff trying to kick in across the Great Lakes region for the day tomorrow. And then as we roll on into your Wednesday, dry and also starting to warm up a little bit more for the entire Midwest.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look to forecasts across the region. We'll start off with a humidity surge off the Gulf. So areas near the coast going to have morning clouds, some patchy fog from San Antonio to Houston down towards Corpus Christi. And then as we head through the afternoon, it's partly sunny skies, still warm across the region. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s for those afternoon high temperatures. Will continue to keep it warm through much of this upcoming week.
Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Stella Sun. A storm system will bring moderate to heavy rain for a lot of our communities towards northern California. We've got flood watches in place, as well as heavy mountain snow expected towards the Sierra Nevadas. We are expecting mostly dry weather, though, up towards the Pacific Northwest in Seattle and in Portland, where daytime highs will trend a bit cooler in the mid to upper 40s, 60s on tap for LA and San Diego. Meanwhile, 70 degrees in the Valley of the Sun and 40s in Salt Lake.
I'm meteorologist Avery Tomasco with CBS Austin News in Austin, Texas, and you're watching the National Weather Desk.
The skies can be quite lively at times, from the northern lights and rainbows to the recent wolf moon and to halos. Meteorologist Dave Dirks explains how halos form.
Check out this viewer picture of a ring around the moon. It's a pretty great little picture taken over Abingdon, Virginia. It is called actually a lunar halo, and it requires thin, wispy, high-altitude clouds made of hexagonal ice crystals, typically cirrus or cirrostratus clouds, and as moonlight passes through these ice crystals, it's bent or refracted at a specific angle, usually around 22 degrees, similar to how light is bends through a prism. Now, the refraction focuses the light into a ring around the moon, creating the halo effect. What it means? Well, the presence of these high-level clouds often indicate an approaching weather system moving into the area. So the old saying, a ring around the moon means rain or snow is coming, often holds true.
We'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. Make it a great day. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for the National Weather Desk.